Update. I was caught using AI to write wedding vows, and partner walked out. What to do? Original post. I, 35 male, recently had a wedding with my partner, 34 female. We've had a stable and happy relationship so far, and I love her more than anything in the world. The problem arose when it came to writing vows. Don't get me wrong, I love many things about my partner, but I couldn't figure out how to put them into tangible vows. So I decided to use ChatGPT, so I can have something well-written and expressive to share at the ceremony. The thing about my partner is that she's very confrontational and no-nonsense. If something annoys her, she immediately addresses it with no room for backing out. I also know that she's expressed disdain for AI in the past, but I didn't realize how far the hatred could go. I don't know how, but she immediately recognized that the vows were AI. After I had finished, she had this angry look and whispered to me, "Did you use freaking AI to write that?" I was quiet because I couldn't believe she had noticed that, and she was choosing to address it while we were on full display for everyone. She then said that I either speak from the heart or she walks out. I literally couldn't get any words out, and she kept her promise and walked back down the aisle, much to all our friends and family's confusion. She's been ghosting me these past few days, which is atypical for her and honestly giving me panic attacks. Most people agree that calling off a marriage because of AI vows was an overreaction, and that maybe it was a sign that our relationship would have issues. But a few female friends have said that they would have done the same. I'm hurt and honestly just needed it to help make the day more special. Is it worth fixing? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Did you write this with AI too, bud? Come on, man. You should have been talking from the heart. No, I could write this just fine. For the vows, it was different because I wanted them to be perfect, and there was just a lot I wanted to say that I ended up not being able to say anything. She didn't care about perfect. She cared about thoughtful, and you should have known that. I didn't realize she'd be able to tell right away. When I spoke of her disdain for AI, people are making it seem like it was a deal breaker that I simply ignored, which isn't the case. I didn't understand that it meant that much to her, and I definitely won't be making the same careless mistake again. Expressive and AI don't go together. She was able to figure out it was AI because AI doesn't have the same tone as you. You outsourced how much you care about your partner to a machine, and you're upset she didn't like the idea. I want to say this is fake, but one glance at LinkedIn proves how using AI rots the brain and makes you incapable of critical thinking. He outsourced expressing how much he cares about his partner to a machine she has already told him she disdains. During an event and in a moment that is entirely about expressing his genuine feelings about her. I agree, I would like to believe it's fake, but I've seen the same thing. Someone tried to make ChatGPT flirt with me in essay form for fun and gave details about me for the AI to work on, but it was still very unnatural sounding. I cannot imagine how soulless the generated wedding vow is. You're hurt? You got a computer to do your homework for you, instead of telling your wife what you love about her. When asked to tell her yourself, you said nothing? But sure, you're the victim here. It shouldn't exactly be homework to say why you think your no longer future wife is great. My husband is awful at using his words. He is really good with acts of service, physical touch, quality time. But even with being really awful at using his words, one Christmas he gave me a book with all these things he loves about me. Filled with so many little things, it even had an inscription that said he's sorry he's not better with his words, but he hopes in times when he's not, this book can help. And he follows through with trying to better. It's just not hard at all when it's someone you love. Edit. Okay, I screwed up. I didn't check this post for a while because I wanted more points of view instead of just getting torn to shreds. But I understand why the situation is worse than I thought it was. I've been trying to contact my partner's family to see if I can talk to her again, but apparently she's been staying out of state with her sister. I'm going to tell her when she gets back what I heard here and that I understand. I'm also going to write new vows without AI and bring her favorite flowers and snacks. I still want her to know that I love her and know her. I will post an update when I can. Thank you all, even if some feedback could have been a tad more nicely put. Now for the full update 2 months later. I honestly wasn't planning to do an update after all, because of how humiliating this entire situation has been. I didn't want to give more of a reason for people to rip me apart, but now that my story is posted on a popular YouTube channel, there probably won't be much of an escape route for me. There's no doubt people we know will find it now, so I wanted to give the short update everyone has been itching to get. I did what I said previously and told her about the Reddit post and how the replies gave me her perspective and that I was sorry. She ended up getting even more angry with me about posting our business, even though our names weren't mentioned, and that she couldn't believe I needed online strangers to tell me why I was wrong. Also, apparently, my mom was texting her about paying back all the wasted wedding money, and she used that against me too. Which I don't think is fair, as I have no control over what my family does. Snacks and flowers didn't do much. She refuses to give me another chance, even after I offered to go to couples counseling. So yeah, the wedding is never happening again. It's over. This has been the most horrendous time in my life. I've thought about giving up altogether. Meanwhile, she's posting about brunch with friends on her social media. It makes me wonder how she could move on that fast while I'm a wreck. People have accused me of not caring about her enough to write my own vows, yet the difference in our reactions to splitting up says the reverse. Hope you're all happy. Feel free to rub salt in the wound. I'm not coming back to this account. This line absolutely took me out. Snacks and flowers didn't do much. Did you actually think it would? You're legitimately telling us that you, at 35 years old, actually thought you could solve the fact that she publicly left you at the altar in the middle of the ceremony by bringing her snacks and flowers? Honestly, that tells me everything I need to know. I bet you didn't even bring her preferred snacks and brought your own favorites. I had more to say, but it's clear you don't have the reading comprehension required for it to matter, so why bother? I can see why you needed AI's help. He most likely asked AI what snacks and flowers women prefer most. I'm pretty sure this is a straw that broke the camel's back situation. Yes, it is horrendous to find out your fiancé was too lazy to say a few words from the heart about you, but if he otherwise was great and was truly sorry, this could end up being a funny story. But he probably was phoning it in many aspects of their relationship, and this was just too much and too hurtful. I don't think there's a set of vows that I know of worse than the keep my belly full and balls empty vows in front of their young daughters, but this is a close second. You can search Florida groom goes viral for controversial wedding vows for the video on YouTube. Next story. A 31 female just had a major surgery and my boyfriend, 36 male, hasn't reached out to see if I'm okay or attempted to see me. Plus update. On Tuesday morning, I had my gallbladder removed. I've been with my boyfriend for 9 months now. We both live with our parents at the moment for financial reasons. My dad works during the day, and my mom is disabled, so she can't do much on her own around the house. This surgery basically immobilized me, and I've had to rely on my mom to help me in and out of bed, in the bathroom, etc. My boyfriend told me he wasn't going to stay with me during my recovery because there was no point, and I'd basically just be sleeping the whole time. He lost his job in September, so he's currently unemployed. The last time he contacted me was Tuesday night. I didn't hear from him at all yesterday or today. I'm thinking that a conversation needs to be had because it upsets me a lot that he hasn't asked how I'm doing or shown any desire to come see me or help out, but I don't know what to say. I feel like I should also mention that around the 5-month mark of our relationship, I told him I loved him, and he told me it was too soon to say that, despite the fact that we had been friends for over a year before we started dating. Like I said, we've been dating for 9 months now, and he still hasn't said he loves me. My birthday was last month, and he said happy birthday 2 days before it, then argued with me when I told him he was early, saying that I told him the wrong day. He also didn't get me even a small gift, a card, nothing. There have been other times when I wanted to go somewhere or do something, but he didn't feel like it, so I ended up doing them by myself. Is it time to move on? I don't really feel like he gives that much of a crap about me. We date to see if we're compatible. You're not getting what you want, which is very little, so you leave. We don't date and then try to change the other person. It doesn't work. Move on. He sounds like a real jerk. This is such solid advice that comes from experience. Please listen, OP. He's not even doing the minimum amount to be considered a halfway decent friend, much less a romantic partner. Are you sure you're actually dating? I'm not trying to sound like an a-hole at all. This just sounds like y'all aren't even remotely on the same page. He literally told you he would not waste his time helping you because it was pointless. He's showing you how much he does not value you as a person, much less a lover. This man will never say I love you because he doesn't even like you. Apparently not even as a friend. When someone shows you who they are, listen. I don't think he's your boyfriend. She's worried he hasn't said I love you yet. I'm like, girl, this man doesn't even like you, let alone love you. OP, it's time to move on. I'm pretty sure I'm more concerned about her than her boyfriend is. OP, I hope you're healing well. Yes, it's time to move on. He has shown you that he doesn't care about your well-being. He knows you need help due to your mobility issues, and his concern is he'd be bored if you're sleeping, leaving your disabled mom to help you. There really is no conversation to be had. I'd just tell him, you have proven to me that I am not a priority to you and you don't care about my overall well-being. We don't need to see each other anymore. Leave it at that. Don't let him manipulate you into staying. Now for the update. I was not expecting so many responses. Thank you all for your well wishes. I'm having a smooth recovery so far. As for my relationship, he did end up calling me late last night. He said he figured he'd check in. When I asked him why it took so long for him to reach out, he said he didn't want to bother me if I was resting. I know that's just a lame excuse, and I honestly didn't have the energy to argue with him at the time. For now, I'm just going to leave it alone and ignore him until I get some of my strength back, but once I'm feeling better, I'll end things. I do deserve someone who is more attentive and caring. I appreciate all the support and encouragement. I'll come back for another update once I break things off. Last story. My fiancé is a homicide detective, and I'm starting to feel like he treats me more like a suspect than a partner. My fiancé, 37 male, and I, 35 female, have been together for almost 4 years. He's a homicide detective. My friends immediately started side-eyeing me. They said, don't date a cop. It's not worth it. They're all abusive, etc. None of them have ever actually dated a cop, so I found their opinions more annoying than anything else. I just felt like they were basing their judgment on a stereotype. My mom said similar things, but she dated a cop who was former military with PTSD like 49 years ago and based everything on that. Lately, though, a few things have started to bother me. I don't know if these incidents are just happening more often or if I was willfully blind to them before. I'm just bothered by these things now. He records our arguments. I've known about that for a while. He told me it was to make sure we remember things correctly and communicate better. And I believed him at first. I didn't like it and thought it was petty and stupid. I asked him if he saved the recordings, and he said he deletes them once the argument is resolved. I've since found a folder on his computer labeled with dates and times, and they're recordings of arguments or other conversations we've had going back over a year. He notices tiny changes in my behavior and asks questions in a way that feels more like an interrogation than concern. I also recently discovered he's done background checks on some of my friends and coworkers. Sometimes his phone buzzes, and he steps out for hours without explanation, but he just says he's handling work stuff whenever I ask. He makes cryptic comments like, you know, I only trust what I can verify, or I like to know everything that might matter when it comes to things between us, not strictly talking about work. Then he laughs it off, but the words stick. It's hard to tell when he's joking and when he's serious. I love him, but sometimes I feel like he's treating me like I'm some sort of suspect. He doesn't seem to trust anyone, including me. Every little disagreement feels like it could be evidence. Recently, he's made some comments related to having kids, about having a tracker on them at all times, and never letting them spend the night at friends' houses. This came after I told him that people at work were saying their kids don't have sleepovers like we used to have. He said he'd never let his kids spend the night at somebody else's house, and that he'd do background checks on every parent of our kids' friends and teachers. I feel like these sorts of comments are becoming more frequent, and it's just escalating. How do I handle this with him? How do I discuss this in a way that won't just turn into a dumb argument that he inevitably records for no good reason? I honestly don't know how to bring this up to him. I've considered telling him he needs therapy because he cannot continue to live life so suspicious and paranoid about everything and everyone. I'm pretty sure he'll refuse that. This is how you want to live the rest of your life? I could barely take it for the length of the post. The rest of her life makes me feel like I'm vicariously suffocating. DV counselor here. Your post reeks of coercive control, which is a form of DV. And sadly, the whole cop aspect isn't a small thing either. This man is incredibly controlling and manipulative, and I implore you to move very carefully. Yeah, I agree with the breakup advice and tons of other comments. But also, how on earth does a woman safely break up with this guy? He's so controlling already, and his job gives him so many resources with which he can exert his control once he gets big mad. It's so scary to me how OP is so obviously in real danger, and she's so somewhere between blindly unaware and working overtime to ignore every gut instinct and lurch of her intuition. Also, am I the only one whose first thought after the mention of tracking and monitoring children was that he's already doing it to her? For all we know, he's aware of this post and has trackers in her car and monitoring her phone usage. He only trusts what he can verify. Sounds like he was laying the groundwork to justify that type of behavior. Oh boy, did your fiancé date my aunt? Because your story sounds really familiar. Only her cop boyfriend was separated from his wife, and when he refused to actually divorce his wife because he didn't want his ex marrying her new boyfriend, my aunt broke up with him. And then it got really bad. She had to leave the state because his harassment afterward was so scary, and no cop would back her up because they were all his buddies. She only got out because she went around and asked the neighbors to please point their cameras at her house in case he murdered her, and then he found a new young girl to obsess over. So yeah, I'm not saying I would never date a cop, but I would have ended the relationship the first time he tried to record our arguments. That is a sign of a much bigger problem that you are only just now starting to realize. I get why he's paranoid. He sees the worst of people, but you are his partner. If he can't trust you, then there is no point in being his partner. It doesn't get better. It only gets worse. For the love of God, don't have sex with him if you are thinking of leaving. My aunt's ex got her pregnant because he tampered with her birth control, and if she hadn't miscarried from the freaking stress, she would have been stuck with him in her life. Be careful.